What happens when three ordinary bachelors get a little unexpected bundle of joy on their doorstep? Well, you get this film here, directed by Mr. Spock himself, Leonard Nimoy. Let's talk about Three Men and a Baby, which is celebrating its 35th anniversary this year. Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. So, greetings, my fellow YouTubers, and welcome to Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. My name's Dual, better known to as the Big D, and this time around I bring to you a review of the 1987 comedy flick Three Men and a Baby, released by Touchstone, drew the now defunct Buena Vista, which that's Disney for y'all. The film was directed by Leonard Nimoy. Yes, you heard me correctly, as I mentioned in the beginning, Mr. Spock of Star Trek fame. Yes, yes, yes. Anyway, yeah. Now, of course, this wasn't the first time he directed something. Now uh, I'm checking. Yeah, this would actually be his second film after Star Trek III: The Search for Spock. Just had to make sure that I was reading correctly. The film stars Tom Selleck, Steve Guttenberg, and Ted Danson, three bachelors here in this film as they attempt to adapt their lives to de facto fatherhood with the arrival of the love child of one of the men. Script is based on the 1985 French film, which I really can't pronounce. It would be Three Men and a Cradle. This film was actually a big success of the box office and was the biggest box office hit of the year in 1987. Now, originally was released on November 25th, so I'm just a couple of days late, so it'll be alright. I'm cool with that. Anyway, it surpassed Fatal Attraction, even, and won a People's Choice Award for Favorite Comedy Motion Picture. Well, let's get started with the story. Architect Peter Mitchell, satirist Michael Kellum, and actor Jack Holden are happy bachelors in their shared New York City apartment, with frequent parties and flings. One day, a baby named Mary arrives on their doorstep with a note revealing she is the result of Jack's tryst with an actress named Sylvia during a Stratford Festival Shakespearean production a year prior. That's just a little bit of heads up on there. Jack is in Turkey shooting a movie and makes arrangements with a director friend to have a package delivered to the apartment. Jack asks his roommates to keep the delivery a secret per his friend's wishes. When Mary arrives, they believe she's the package. Pierre and Michael are totally befuddled how to take care of her, and Pierre leaves to buy supplies. Their landlady, Mrs. Hathaway, delivers a small box, the actual package of heroin, which Michael tosses aside. They learn to care for Mary, including diaper changes, baths, and feedings. 4 days later, two drug dealers arrive at the apartment for the package. Peter and Michael mistakenly give them Mary, along with a can of powdered milk the dealers believe is the heroin. Peter discovers the actual package. Realizing the mix up, he runs downstairs but trips, spilling the package's contents. He gathers up the drugs and confronts the man outside, causing a scuffle. A police officer on horseback intervenes. Pierre rescues Mary, but the dealers flee with the can of powdered milk. The officer detains Pierre and Michael at the apartment until Sergeant Melkowitz, our narcotics officer, arrives to question them. Jack calls from Turkey, but Pierre and Michael are unable to talk openly as they are being recorded. They successfully hide the drugs, learning that Jack's friend Paul Milner is a drug dealer. A suspicious Melkowitz puts them under surveillance. Mrs. Hathaway babysits Mary while Peter and Michael go to work. Returning home, they find Mrs. Hathaway bound and gagged and the apartment ransacked by the dealers. But Mary saved a note threatens, "Next time we'll take the baby." Peter and Michael continue to care for Mary, adjusting to fatherhood and growing attached. Peter incapacitates an intruder who turns out to be Jack, returning early after his movie role was cut. Jack assures Peter and Michael he knew nothing about the heroine. He initially denies his connection to Mary, but Sylvia's note convinces him he is Mary's father. Peter and Michael pass all parenting responsibility to Jack, who quickly grows to love her. Now for the final act in the ending. As always, you know the procedure. You have 5 seconds to stop this video. Go to the description box below. Fast forward to the time below. If you've seen the movie already, please continue. Okay, you've been warned. They receive a news clipping in the mail. Milner has been attacked by the drug dealers and hospitalized with another threat. Don't let this happen to you. Peter, Michael, and Jack formulate a plan to trap the dealers, arranging a meeting. Jack, disguised as a pregnant woman, leaves the building with Mary while Peter and Michael leave in a cab, followed by undercover officers, but manage to lose them in another cab driven by Jack. The three meet the dealers at the top floor of a construction site. Michael, hidden in the vents, records Peter's conversation with the dealers, but falls into the room and a chase ensues. They manage to trap the dealers in an elevator as the police arrive. With the recording, they prove their innocence to Melkowitz, and the dealers are arrested. Peter, Michael, and Jack fully embrace their role as Mary's guardians until Sylvia arrives to take Mary with her to London. After she leaves with Mary, the three realize how desperately they miss the baby. Racing to the airport, they just missed Sylvia's plane for London. Defeated, they returned home to find the two at the door. Sylvia tearfully says she doesn't want to give up acting, but must if she has to raise Mary alone. So the three men invite her and Mary to move in. She accepts, and the four live happily with the baby. End of story. So what did I think of Three Men and a Baby? Well, I'm going to say it's pretty funny in ways. I remember going to the theater and seeing this when I was a youngin with my mom and, well, I think one of our friends. But it's hard to remember. That's been a long time ago. Anyway, this film just celebrated its 35th anniversary. Anywho, I will say that the story is pretty good. The film got some good reception, what have you. Now, according to Rotten Tomatoes, it says, like the French farce it's based on, the film is too self-satisfied with scatological humor to qualify as a bundle of joy. But the role of makeshift today brings out the best in Tom Selleck, who, of course, was still playing TV's Magnum PI at the time, because which that show was in its final season at the time. I think he was pretty good. Steve Guttenberg plays Michael, who was very good. Ted Danson, who of course was popular on TV's Cheers, plays Jack. And Tom Selleck played Peter. I want to point that out. Let's see. Nancy Travis plays Sylvia. Philip Bosco plays Sergeant Melkowitz, and we got several others appearances. Margaret Collins, Celeste Holm, Earl Handman, yeah, you may remember him from Home Improvement. Paul Guilfoyle before he played on CSI. Yeah. And there's a host of others. But anyway, yeah. And of course, we have the introduction of Lisa and Michelle Blair, both playing Mary. Anyway, the film became such a big success at the box office. And it would be their biggest success for their Touchstone label. That is until it was surpassed by Pretty Woman 3 years later. And it was the first production from the studio to gross over 100 million domestically in its initial run. Anyway, yeah. And anyway, the film went on to make 240 million worldwide. There would be a sequel that came out 3 years later called Three Men and a Little Lady, which I'll review that later on in the future. Now, there was to be a third film called Three Men and a Bride. It was in development, but it entered development you know where and was eventually abandoned in favor of a reboot. So apparently, which they're still planning for this year, but I sincerely doubt they'll make it in time, which Zac Efron is cast in the new reboot. So, and the guy who's been chosen to direct the film intends for the stars of the original films to appear in the movie with a cameo role at minimum. So, I wish them the best of luck. But anyway, 3 Men and a Baby is absolutely pretty funny. Leonard Nimoy's direction in the film was really good. Music from Marvin Hamlish was good. It also had some great tunes and what have you as well. So overall, with all that said, would I recommend 3 Men and a Baby? Well, let me see. The answer is yes. Now, and it's between yes and sure. Go ahead. I mean, if you really want to see a real funny flick from the 80s, then this would be right up your alley. Anyway, 3 Men and a Baby, it's pretty funny. So, what are your thoughts on this film? Let me know what you thought about 3 Men and a Baby in the comment section below. If you like this video, click the like button, subscribe, and be a part of the Big D Nation. Now, as you may know, I recently, decided to postpone my last two reviews for the month, which were the Ratchet and Clank sequels. I'm going to go ahead and tell you what I've got planned for the rest of the month. Now, next time I'm going to be bringing to you a spoiler-free review of the recent Jordan Peele film, Nope. Also, you will be getting my first Hulu film reviews coming up as well. Details to follow on what those will be, okay? So you'll be getting those. Alright? Good, now that that's covered. Thanks for checking out my review of 3 Men and a Baby, and if you like this, check out these other films. These two are a couple of other films from Touchstone. In the upper left-hand corner is my review of their first film, Splash, from 1984. The upper right-hand corner is my review of the original Adventures in Baby Sing, which was actually released the same year this was in 1987. Or if you'd like something else, go to the bottom left-hand corner for a later film Steve Guttenberg did, and that would be It Takes Two, with the Olsen twins and Kirstie Alley. And the bottom right-hand corner is the button you can click to subscribe. If you like rankings and reviews on movies, TV, music, video games, etc., then I'm your guy. Thank you for watching. Until next time, I'm the Big D saying, see ya.